Welcome to another episode of Landlord TV. This is your host, Rob Wells from the Law Office of Robert M. Wells. We help landlords and property managers with their landlord-tenant situations and matters. So in this video, we're going to talk about can a landlord or their property manager terminate a tenant's tenancy for just cause or for fault cause for unlawfully using a firearm. Okay, before we start into that video though, landlords and property managers, if you're going through a bad tenant situation, such as you're dealing with a tenant that's engaged in illegal activity or a public nuisance or any nuisance for that matter, please feel free to reach out to us. We can help you out. These issues are really factually specific, and if you take the misstep in the eviction process, the case could be bad and cause you all kinds of problems and headaches down the road. Okay, so back to the topic. Had a situation run across my desk. Landlord, tenant, basically he brandished a gun. He basically showed a gun in a rude and angry manner against one of the employees of this landlord here. And the question became, can you terminate a tenancy for cause? And generally, I'm going to say this, the gray area is it's going to depend. Okay. So in this particular scenario, though, landlord had a right to actually be at the property. There's repairs being done. This was all noticed, that type of deal. In that case, if a tenant actually brandished a gun, that's against the penal code. You can't brandish a gun, which is basically show a gun to use it in a threatening or intimidating manner. That's a crime under California penal code. In that situation, for example, yes, in this attorney's opinion, that tenant could be evicted for cause, and the reason why is under the Code of Civil Procedure, under Section 1161, Subdivision 4, there is a section for evicting tenants on a 3-day notice to quit without opportunity to cure. And this is generally reserved for serious lease violations and criminal activity, such as the tenant is committing a public nuisance or commits certain crimes and engage in certain activities. And inside the Code of Civil Procedure, illegal use of firearms is actually one of these special categories where if you commit it, then there's no opportunity to fix that issue. You as a landlord could just issue a 3-day notice to quit in that case. Now, I say it depends on the certain situations because I have some landlords and property managers that did not comply with the law. For example, if a landlord entered into a unit without a notice to enter or any type of consent with the tenant, for example, and I'll just make it over the top. Let's say that landlord made entry into that unit, say at 11:30 at night with no notice or anything, and you hear the door jingle and I'm the tenant here. Well, guess what? If that tenant is armed with a firearm and displays it to you, wondering what the hell's going on and points it at you, that's not probably going to be a crime in California because there are a lot of strong statutes regarding one's home, okay? And again, this is your tenant's home. You've rented it out to them. It becomes theirs. They pay you rent, but they have the right to possess it. So if you unlawfully come in, especially during the nighttime, and a tenant displays a firearm to you saying, hey, what are you doing here? Type deal. That's probably going to be justified. You would not be able to do an eviction on that matter because the landlord is in the wrong in that case here. Obviously, firearms violations and the type of firearms activity are going to be factually dependent on whether or not it could sustain an eviction. But the statute was written to address unlawful use of a firearm. So, for example, if your tenant's, shooting their gun out in the backyard, endangering the neighbors, for example, and in the city limits or something like that, that's a crime in California. Yes, that would support a public nuisance type eviction. But, for example, let's say hypothetically the tenant got jammed up on a minor infraction. They, sold some ammunition without a license, for example, and it was a small quantity. Probably not going to be able to sustain an eviction. Again, folks, these are highly factual scenarios here. I just throw some colorful examples out there to just kind of illustrate these points here. Listen, if you're dealing with a situation where a tenant has used firearms or committed a crime or committed a public nuisance, it's best that you talk with legal counsel to go over these issues, to go over whether or not it's going to be sufficient for just cause or not. So, till next time, folks, we'll talk then. Hopefully this video helped you out. If it did, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We put out content every week here. And until next time, we'll talk to you then. Thanks.